We've been lucky that we've done a turnaround so fast for two reasons. One, I had a good team that helped me to put the economy into order, which includes Dr. Wickremesinghe. Secondly, we didn't go to argue. In a way, I may not have allowed too much of argument to go on. We took the decisions and went ahead. I didn't want to be like Greece. They came to an agreement, then they had the election, then they had a referendum where 60% rejected the agreement, then the economy collapsed again, then they went back, and at the end of it, VAT, which was 13 point, became 23%.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe underscored the strength and capability of his administration, declaring that they are fully equipped to address the challenges facing Sri Lanka. Speaking at the 37th Annual Conference of the Organization of Professional Associations of Sri Lanka at the Shangri-La Hotel Colombo, President Wickremesinghe emphasized the crucial role of public support in ensuring the success of the government's economic recovery initiatives. During his address, the president highlighted the significant strides made in the country's economic recovery and outlined his administration's commitment to achieving a swift turnaround. He made it clear that the continuation of this recovery and the pursuit of long-term economic growth depend on strict adherence to the agreement with the International Monetary Fund. He described this agreement as the only viable pathway to overcoming the current economic crisis and acknowledged the substantial relief Sri Lanka has received through this partnership. The annual conference, themed "Towards Sri Lanka's Sustained Economic Growth," brought together professionals from various sectors across the nation. The OPA, which comprises 52 member associations representing 34 sectors, boasts a membership of over 60,000 professionals, making it one of the most significant gatherings of its kind in Sri Lanka.
The governor of the bank, Dr. Wickremesinghe, has explained to you in detail what has taken place. So I will not seek to cover that. Also, we've been lucky that we've done a turnaround so fast for two reasons. One, I had a good team that helped me to put the economy into order, which includes Dr. Wickremesinghe. Secondly, we didn't go to argue. In a way, I may not have allowed too much of argument to go on. We took the decisions and went ahead. I didn't want to be like Greece. They came to an agreement, then they had the election, then they had a referendum where 60% rejected the agreement, then the economy collapsed again, then they went back, and at the end of it, VAT, which was 13 point, became 23%. It took them 10 years to recover. I wanted the recovery to be as fast as possible, and that's what we have achieved. So if you are to sustain economic growth, addition to what was said by the governor, there are two things which I consider essential. Firstly, stick to the agreement that you have made with the IMF. As if you ask him, it was not easy. We had to discuss it. We had to deal with a number of parties. Fortunately, the IMF was entrusted with dealing with us in this instance. Unlike Greece, which had to deal with the IMF, the EU and the European Central Bank to start the negotiation. So we had the discussions with them. Then we also had to discuss with the two associated institutes, World Bank and the ADB. But then we had to deal with our creditors, 17 of them. Some of them were in the 18 of them. Some belong to the Paris clubs, others didn't, including India and China. Other than China, others opted to join the Paris club and become the official creditors committee. China stayed separately. So in fact, we were having two discussions, and each side was suspicious that we were giving advantage to the other side. So that's the discussion we had to deal with. And at the end of it also, we had discussed with these two groups. So you know how complex it is. But nevertheless, the agreement we reach, we must respect. However difficult it was, and it did impose hardships on the people of Sri Lanka, it has taken us out of the crisis. And we can see hope. We can see growth. And the strength in the economy has also brought relief to the people. When we looked at the energy prices, and the reforms we had to do as the prices shot up, everyone was at the government and at the IMF. Today it's different. The prices have come down or is stabilizing itself. So this agreement must be maintained. There are those who say we must do away with it. Those who say we must change it. How do you change it? No one is going to change it because we say so. They have looked at the economy of Sri Lanka and we agreed the price, the path to stability. What should be done? In return, we have been given relief. I think if you look at the discussions, when you take the interest relief alone, it's about $10 billion. And it's stretched till 2042, giving us time to readjust ourselves. So all of them must agree. This is not a question of some people saying talking to the IMF. You have to talk to the IMF, you have to talk to the ADB, you have to talk to the World Bank, you have to talk to 17 countries including US, UK, France, Canada, India, Japan, South Korea, like that. In fact, we have to go around and speak to all of them to sign the agreement in time. So these are the people you deal with. Then you have to talk to the bondholders. So those who say we are going to talk to the IMF and adjust it, begin with, don't know anything of how you are going to deal with this issue. They don't even know the people we have to deal with. That shows the depth of ignorance of people who think they can fix it. Secondly, we have to transform ourselves from an import-dependent economy to a highly competitive, export-oriented economy. That is what we have to do. We have to do the transformation. That's the challenge we have. I know we can succeed if we get ahead and go down the correct path. We have already passed the 4 main laws that are required. The Public Debt Management Act, the Public Finance Act, the Central Bank Act and the Economic Transformation Act. Now for the first time policy is put down as a law. So you can't change it just because the minister changes or the president changes or the prime minister changes, you can't change it. You must go before parliament. And the basic principles are laid down there. So this is where we start. Leaving aside the policies, the question next comes, okay, you want us to be a export-oriented economy. Where do you find the exports? Where do you find the markets? To begin with, the export economy will be competitive. But we also want our economy to be a digital economy and a green economy. On that basis, become competitive. Firstly, is increase your productivity. Whichever field you are in, increase your productivity. Become more competitive. Increase the markets where you have already entered. It's like apparel. But where do we increase the markets? We can't go back to being a low-wage apparel industry. That's over for us. Go to Bangladesh, go to Myanmar. We can't be that. Then we must try to reach to the high end gradually. It also means backward integration. More fabrics and all be made here and more designers. So that's one way. So the existing ones. How do you add value to your tea? That's another way. But then new areas. The new area, one we've identified and we are promoting is agriculture. First, modernize the agriculture. Look at the export agriculture. Why are we talking agriculture? The world's population will increase by another 2 billion by 2050. And they'll have more money in hand. Now, that's that 2 billion we are running after. That's enough for us. So, go in. We feel there's a lot of land, at least about 300,000 acres that can be put under cultivation. We will have the regional companies that are efficient. Much more land to be given. In Mahavalley, there's system A, which has been untouched. There's a part of system B not being utilized. And a small part of system C. Money spent, not utilized. Look at it. Many other areas. And one of the first steps of basically modernizing agriculture is to ensure that in the dry zone, we increase our paddy productivity from 4 metric tons a hectare to 8 metric tons. We become competitive. But more than that, once you do this, all the paddy land in the wet zone becomes available for other crops. That's a big amount. Just imagine focusing on crops around Katunayaka Airport in Gampaha, Colombo, in part of Kagalle and part of Kurunegala. You're by the airport or you're by the port. So you have to think anew what you can do. Agriculture means also that we will have value addition in agriculture. In dairy products, we want to buy in 15 years, we'll ensure that our yield per animal is 20 liters from about 5 we are today. More than that, we'll have a surplus of milk. Again, we'll have milk-based industries. That's how Holland started off. So these are two areas. Just imagine we keep modernizing agriculture, modernizing what we have over 20 years. That itself will drive all the technology that is required, new training for farmers. So that's one area. Secondly is tourism. From 2.5 million tourists to 5 million. And from $150 a night to 400. Just imagine how it will increase. New hotels, new activities that will come out of tourism. These two alone will absorb a fair amount of the unemployed. And we are an aging society. Nothing to stop aged people from either doing agriculture or being part of the tourist system. We have to look at work that we can do. So these are two new areas that we are looking at. Developing our logistics, more than that, going for manufacture, not the low end. Go for the more technology intensive ones, train them, go ahead. Some will say automation, semi-automation, we won't have jobs. I would say, first get your foreign exchange. You can always find the jobs. As it was said in the old Anuradhapura period, people engage in agriculture and paddy farming. Not all the time. So the kings got them to build the Agabus the rest of the time. That's one way in which you kept your population was occupied. Otherwise to build the canals and to clean it out. We can always, I think if there's money, you can find ways. And our people, anyway, I think we need not worry too much. Automation will not be a problem for us. Because at our wage rates, we cannot compete with the low wage economies. So this is the way. As you keep training more and more people, there will be more and more automated industries coming to the country. We are looking at the whole field of technology, digitalization. I've been talking with SLASCOM at the Indian NASCOM. How do we go ahead? This is something we are used to. Use the other technologies like AI. We are now planning to have 4 more universities of technology. While we increase the technological courses, we look at 4 more universities coming in technology. So these are some of the other areas. We produce the human resources and then we can look at it. So let's start this process. I can think of many more, but I am telling you how we start. You all will find more. It's making the start that is difficult. But we have the talent. Where do I find the talent? If each of you go home and look at the mirror, that's a part of the talent we have. Just go home and look at the mirror. Then you realize the potential we have. We start from there. What is here is good enough. If you have to supplement, okay, people can come abroad. Maybe Sri Lankans out there, diaspora, maybe foreigners who want to spend 4 or 5 years. Doesn't matter. Let's learn from them. We must improve our education system. We have enough business people. So I looked on the professionals and the business people. From them, let's start. Let's go ahead. We must take a challenge. I remember when the British came and opened up tea, our people learnt and we opened up coconut. 77 we started, everyone took the challenge. And we have the new industries and the export-oriented industries. And amidst the war, we drove our tourist industry. So we are capable of it. We must create the atmosphere. And that's where your challenge comes. You have to decide on September 21st which way you go. It's all that is left to you. So I think we've discussed, the governor and I have discussed sufficiently what the future will be. So I wish you all the best and thank you for having invited me.
Ranil Wickremesinghe for gracing our occasion today. Wickremesinghe, Governor of the Central Bank of... So let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for the OPA President. Let's put our hands together for Mrs. Vafatli, never in 5 years at the OPA. Let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen. His Excellency Ranil Wickremesinghe. Let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen. That's the very first copy of our annual... We have a few more publications to be...
For more latest news, subscribe to FTTV.